My father is going to sell me into child labor. Uncle Rancher, can you take me home now? Ruby may press her back against the kitchen door, bare feet silent on the cold linoleum. The voices from inside cut through the thin were like knives through paper. She's 14, strong for her age. Vernon's voice carried that tone he used when selling cattle. Works from dawn to dusk without complaint. Mill pays $30 a week for young hands, one of the strangers said. His boots creaked expensive leather against the floorboards. 3 months minimum contract. 3 months pays what I owe you. Most of it. The second man's voice was harder, colder. Girl stays longer if needed. Ruby May's chest tightened. The morning air bit her arms through her thin nightgown, but she couldn't move, couldn't breathe. She'll do fine at the textile plant, Vernon continued. Been teaching her to follow orders since she could walk. Good. Kids who talk back don't last. Ruby May knows her place. The words hit her like a physical blow. Ruby May. They were talking about her, trading her like livestock. When do you want her? Tomorrow morning. Have her packed and ready. She doesn't know yet. Better that way. Less fuss. Chairs scraped against the floor. Heavy footsteps moved toward the front door. Ruby May's heart hammered against her ribs as the men's voices faded into the night. Pleasure doing business, Vernon. Just remember our agreement. The girl works hard. She'll earn her keep. The front door slammed shut. Vernon's footsteps returned to the kitchen. Ruby May heard the clink of a bottle against glass, then the slow pour of whiskey. She turned from the door and ran. Her bare feet hit the back porch steps, then the cold dirt of the yard. The pre-dawn darkness swallowed her whole as she sprinted toward the tree line. Behind her, the house sat like a tomb, holding the echo of her father's betrayal. Branches tore at her nightgown. Her lungs burned, but she kept running, because stopping meant accepting that her own father had just sold her future to strangers in expensive boots. The woods opened ahead of her like salvation. The sun painted the eastern sky pink when Ruby May stumbled into Clay's ranch yard. Her nightgown hung in tatters, feet bleeding from 3 miles of rocky ground. The porch steps rose before her like a mountain she couldn't climb. Her legs gave out. She collapsed against the wooden boards, chest heaving. The front door creaked open. Clay stepped out in work clothes, coffee mug steaming in his hand. He saw her crumpled form and the mug shattered against the porch. Ruby May. He knelt beside her, hands hovering, afraid to touch. What happened to you? Uncle Clay. Her voice came out broken, raw. I ran. I had to run. From what? From who? Daddy. She looked up at him with wild eyes. He sold me. Clay's face went stone cold. What did you say? 2 men came tonight. Expensive boots. They talked money. Slow down. Tell me everything. Textile mill. 3 counties over. $30 a week. The words tumbled out between gasps. Daddy owes gambling debts. Said I'd worked them off. Clay's jaw tightened like a steel trap. He'd known Vernon was desperate. Known about the drinking, the late-night card games, the mounting bills. But this? He said I'd earn my keep, Ruby May whispered, like I was cattle. Son of a bitch. Clay's voice carried 20 years of buried anger. That sorry son of a bitch. They're coming for me tomorrow morning. Said kids who talk back don't last. Clay stood slowly, fists clenched. The morning air hung heavy between them, thick with old family poison. Uncle Clay, can you take me home now? The question hit him like a physical blow. Home? What home? Vernon had just destroyed any home she'd ever known. Come inside. Clay reached down, helped her to her feet. You're safe now. He guided her through the front door, mind racing. Their father had done the same thing to their mother 30 years ago. Different debt, same desperation. Some wounds ran deeper than blood, passed down like curses through generations. Ruby May sank into his kitchen chair, small and broken. Clay looked at her torn nightgown, her bleeding feet, her terrified eyes. Vernon wasn't just selling his daughter. He was continuing a family tradition of sacrifice that Clay had spent his whole life trying to forget. Nobody's taking you anywhere. Clay said quietly. I promise you that. But promises were easy to make. Keeping them against Vernon and his creditors would be something else entirely. The dust cloud appeared at noon, 3 figures in a pickup truck barreling down Clay's gravel drive. Vernon sat shotgun while the 2 men from last night flanked him like vultures. Clay stepped off his porch, Ruby May safely locked inside. The truck doors slammed shut in unison. Give me my daughter, Clay. She's not going anywhere. Vernon's face was red, sweaty. She's my blood. My right. You're right. Clay's voice cut like broken glass. You sold her like livestock. I did what I had to do. You wouldn't understand. I understand plenty. You're trafficking your own child. The taller man, in expensive boots, stepped forward. This is family business, ranch hand. Walk away. This is my land. You walk away. We got legal papers, the shorter man said, patting his jacket. Parental consent. All proper. Proper? Clay laughed bitter. Nothing about child labor is proper. Vernon's hands shook. You don't know what it's like, Clay. The debts. The pressure. I know exactly what it's like. Remember what Daddy did to Mama. The words hung in the air like poison. Vernon's face went white. That's different. Is it? Daddy owed money, too. Said Mama would work it off at the boarding house. Shut up, Clay. 3 months, he said, just like you're saying now. I said, shut up. Mama never came home, Vernon, just like Ruby May won't come home. The tall man pulled a knife from his belt. Enough talking. Clay didn't flinch. You threaten me on my own land? We threaten anyone who interferes with business. What happened to Mama, Vernon? Clay's voice carried 30 years of buried rage. Where did she really go? She left. You know she left. She didn't leave. She died working off Daddy's debts. Just like you're planning for Ruby May. Vernon's composure cracked. That's not the same. It's exactly the same. Same desperation. Same betrayal. Same family curse. The shorter man reached for his gun. Clay kicked dirt with his boot, drawing a long line between them and himself. Cross that line and find out what happens. You're 1 man against 3, the tall man said. I'm 1 man protecting family. You're 3 cowards selling children. Vernon stared at the line in the dirt, then at Clay's face. For a moment, the brothers were children again, sharing secrets their father made them keep. Give me the girl, Clay. No. The standoff stretched tight as barbed wire, ready to snap. Ruby May slipped out the back door while the men's voices raged inside. Their arguments followed her across the yard like angry wasps, but she needed air, needed space to think. The old well sat 50 yards from the house, half hidden by overgrown grass. Stone walls crumbled with age, no bucket or rope in sight. Ruby May had never paid attention before. Something drew her closer, a smell, sweet and wrong. She peered over the edge into the black mouth below. Her eyes adjusted slowly to the darkness. Bones, white and scattered against the well's bottom. Fabric scraps that might have once been a dress. And there, catching what little light filtered down, the glint of metal. A locket. Ruby May's stomach lurched. She stumbled backward, hand over her mouth. Ruby May. Clay stood behind her, face grim from the argument inside. Uncle Clay. The well. There's something down there. I know. His simple answer chilled her more than the sight below. You know, I've always known. Who is it? Clay stared into the well's darkness. Your grandmother. My mother. Grandma died when you were little. Daddy said she got sick. Daddy lied, just like he's lying now. Ruby May's legs felt weak. What happened to her? Same thing that's happening to you. Her father owed money. Said she'd work it off at a place 2 towns over. She tried to escape. She tried to come home. Made it this far before they caught her. They killed her. They made sure she couldn't run again. Then they threw her down there like garbage. The wind picked up, carrying the smell of old death from the well's depths. How long have you known? Since I was 16. Found her locket first. Took me 3 more years to work up the courage to look down there. Why didn't you tell anyone? Tell who? The sheriff? He was paid off then, too. Some things don't change. Ruby may stare at the bones below. Her grandmother, a girl who tried to escape the same fate Ruby may face now. Is that why you left home? Why you and Daddy stopped talking? I couldn't look at him anymore, knowing what our family does to its women. But you came back. I came back for you, to break the cycle. Clay reached down, picked up a handful of dirt, and let it fall into the well. She's been waiting down there for 30 years, waiting for someone to care enough to stop it from happening again. A patrol car kicked up dust as it rolled into Clay's yard. Sheriff Denton stepped out, badge catching the afternoon sun like a warning. Clay and Ruby may walk back from the well, dirt still under their fingernails. Afternoon, Clay. Vernon called about a family situation. Did he now? Says you're harboring his daughter against his will. I'm protecting her from child trafficking. Denton's laugh was cold. That's a serious accusation. It's the truth. Vernon emerged from the house with his 2 companions. Sheriff, my brother's lost his mind. Ruby May belongs with her family. Family that sells children? Clay stepped forward. Now hold on. Denton raised his hand. Vernon's got legal rights here. Legal? Ruby May's voice cut sharp. What's legal about forced labor? Girls got an active imagination, the tall man said. Denton nodded. Kids make things up when they're scared. I'm not making anything up. Ruby May stared at the sheriff's badge. You know exactly what they're planning. I know a father's trying to provide for his child. By selling her to a textile mill? By finding her honest work. Clay's jaw tightened. How much did they pay you, Denton? Watch your mouth. How much does a sheriff's conscience cost these days? You're walking a thin line. We all are. Clay looked at the badge, then at Denton's face. Tell me something. Who owns the mill Vernon's sending her to? Denton shifted uncomfortably. That's not relevant. Judge Morrison's brother, isn't it? Same Morrison who'll sign the custody papers if needed. You don't know what you're talking about. I know plenty. Same system that killed our grandmother. Same players, different generation. Vernon stepped closer. Sheriff, I want my daughter. Now! Denton's hand moved to his gun. Clay, you can do this easy or hard. Ruby May watched the hollow star on Denton's chest. Badges were supposed to mean protection. This one meant betrayal. What's it going to be? Denton asked. Clay looked at Ruby May, then at the well behind them. 3 generations of women sacrificed to the same corruption. Hard, he said quietly. The standoff stretched into evening. 5 men with guns facing Clay and Ruby May. Denton kept checking his watch. Vernon sweated through his shirt. The 2 mill men looked bored, like this happened every week. Ruby May watched them all. These men who thought they owned her future. I'll give you one more chance, Denton said. Hand over the girl. No. Then you're under arrest for obstruction. Ruby May stepped forward. Wait. Everyone turned to look at her. Small, 14, supposedly powerless. I'll go. Clay's face went white. Ruby May, no. It's okay, Uncle Clay. I understand now. She walked toward Vernon's truck, hands visible, non-threatening. The men relaxed slightly. Ruby May reached into her pocket and pulled out Clay's lighter. She'd taken it from his kitchen table hours ago. What's she doing? Vernon asked. Ruby May flicked the lighter. The flame danced in the growing darkness. Choosing. She touched the fire to Vernon's truck seat. The upholstery caught instantly, hungry flames spreading across vinyl and foam. Stop her, Denton shouted. But Ruby May was already at the truck bed, lighting the legal papers that would have bound her to the mill. They curled and blackened, turning to ash and smoke. Ruby May. Vernon lunged forward. She turned to face him, fire reflecting in her eyes. You want to know what I choose, Daddy? Put that lighter down. I choose to speak. For Grandma. For all the women this family threw away. The truck blazed behind her, casting wild shadows across the yard. You're not my father anymore. Fathers protect their children. You sold me. I did what I had to do. You did what was easy. just like Grandpa did to Grandma. Vernon's face crumpled. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't bring back the dead. Sorry doesn't fix 30 years of lies. The flames grew higher, eating Vernon's truck, his papers, his plan. You know what I learned today, Daddy? Fire burns away lies. Fire shows truth. She dropped the lighter into grass at Vernon's feet. The truth is, you're not my family anymore. Uncle Clay is. This land is. These bones in the well are. The fire roared behind her like applause from the dead. 3 weeks later, Ruby May sat on Clay's porch with a stack of letters, the morning sun warming her face. The legal papers declaring Clay her guardian lay signed and sealed inside the house. How many today? Clay asked, settling into the chair beside her. 7. Girls from 3 counties over. All in similar situations? Worse, some as young as 12. Ruby May folded another letter, addressed it carefully. Since Vernon's disappearance and Sheriff Denton's arrest, word had spread. Girls reached out through church networks, school friends, anyone who would listen. What do you tell them? That they have choices. That someone will listen. That they're not alone. Clay nodded toward the well, now marked with a simple stone bearing their grandmother's name. She'd be proud. I hope so. I know so. You found your voice. That's what she died trying to do. Ruby May sealed another envelope. Inside was a phone number for social services. Clay's address is a safe house. And the simple truth that fathers don't own their daughters. You think Vernon will come back? Not with federal trafficking charges waiting. He's smart enough to stay gone. Good. A pickup truck appeared on the horizon, dust trailing behind it. Ruby May tensed. Easy, Clay said. That's just Pastor Williams. He's got more letters for you. The truck pulled up, and Pastor Williams climbed out, carrying a canvas bag. Afternoon, Ruby May. Clay. Pastor. Got 12 more today. Word spreading faster than wildfire. Ruby May took the bag, feeling its weight. 12 more girls. 12 more chances to break the cycle. There's something else, Pastor Williams said. Judge Morrison's brother shut down the textile mill. Federal investigation. Clay smiled. Seems like corruption has consequences after all. Ruby May looked out across Clay's land, then at the letters in her lap. Home wasn't the house where she was born. Home was where people protected each other, where truth mattered more than money, where the dead were honored and the living were free. Uncle Clay? Yeah. I'm ready to write more letters. She picked up her pen and began.